Hi, welcome to BSides Lisbon, the edition 2017 edition. I'm here with Bruno Morisson. Bruno, talk a bit about BSides. This year edition of BSides Lisbon.
Well, this year edition is a bit different than the previous ones. So this is the fourth. We started in 2013. So me and Tiago Balgan had the idea of having a BSides here in Lisbon. So it has been growing, and this year it's a day and a half. Because you also wanted to have a specific track for the CTF, which is running today in one of the rooms. So that's the main difference. Also, we were able to create something that is what we call the BSides Lisbon, which is based on an idea by the guys from Manchester, from BSides Manchester. They did a BSides there, and we thought the idea was cool. So after the talks today and the CTF, we'll just hang out exactly here where we are speaking. There's a bar, there'll be beer and lightning talks and food and so on, so that people can hang out.
So beer, food and hacks, so everything
everything in place.
In place for a nice evening.
And amazing weather also.
It is. So we are in Lisbon. We are at Microsoft headquarters here in Lisbon. You just mentioned this is the fourth edition of BSides Lisbon.
Yeah.
So can you just do a quick roundup of what happened in the previous 3 years? What's going to be this year? So you mentioned that we're going to have the BSides Lisbon, but also what do you kind of are looking for the next year or for the next years?
Well, honestly, we take a great account into the feedback people give us. So just in the opening session, I said it, and I'm going to say it throughout the event, that people need to give us the service. It's really important. So one of the things was people wanted, they really enjoyed our CTF, which was running during the conference, so people could just join and do the CTFs, and people wanted, well, I can't see the talks because I'm doing the CTF and so on. That one, and the fact that people said that, we wanted more time, not just one day. How about 2 days? So this year we're trying slowly 1 day and a half, having the CTF on its own track. So this is basically the main difference. For the next year, we'll see how things go this year, how people react, and the feedback they give us. So I don't know, maybe 2 days, full 2 days. Perhaps,
so the feedback is rather important for you guys to also. Try to figure out what worked, what didn't work, and try to improve it for the next times. Okay. What's the main goal of the BSides, right? So for people out there that actually don't know what the BSides event is, can you just quickly describe what it is?
Quickly, basically, the BSides events started at BSides Las Vegas in 2011, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they started exactly BSides in the old days. There were the LPs and there were the A-sides and the B-sides, which were the songs that didn't get into the A-side. So basically they started this B-sides conference doing Black Hat briefings and DEF CON, and they did the B-sides. So a lot of talks that weren't accepted to those conferences, but still were very good and should be presented to the community. And that started to grow throughout other countries and other cities. And basically that's the main idea, to have a place for usually local communities to create those conferences. Of course, we also have people from other countries, although basically in our case from Europe. And try just to have a community gathering where people can not only see talks but also hang out and know each other and so on.
Okay. You mentioned that on this BSides, on this edition, you're going to have people from all over Europe, probably even from countries outside of Europe. We have a lot of Portuguese people as speakers here. They're going to use English as main language. So I'm guessing that one of the goals is try to improve also the local Portuguese community out there and push that. But so imagine me as a non-security people, as a guy that actually doesn't understand a thing about security. Should I come to this event? What can I learn from here? Is it going to be useful for me, or is it just for specific people around security?
I think it's usually a bit techy. In our case, I think each BSides it's a bit its own thing, but ours is a bit techy because the main organizers are geeks and techies, so we like the bits and the bytes and the stuff. But I think there's a lot for everyone. We even have workshops. Since last year, we have usually 3 workshops, and it will be this year again, which you have different things. One is like a threat management platform that you can use, and you'll learn how to use it. Another one for a little bit of basics of web app application security testing. Another one about malware analysis. So there's a bit for everyone, and even the talks are of all types of of knowledge. So I think there's unless you don't work in IT, of course, that probably you won't get anything out of here except having fun, perhaps, and having a few drinks and a few laps. But if you work in IT and you have the slightest interest in security, I think there's a bit for everyone.
It's going to be a good event. All right, okay. So just to wrap up, this is going to be the first half. So this is not 2 days. This is 1 day and a half. This is the first half of the event. 1/3 of the event, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
The other 2/3 are going to be tomorrow. So we're just going to start. Probably going to do a wrap up tomorrow after the event to just catch along, just to see what was the general feedback of the event and what do we expect for the next edition. So anything else that you want to tell people about BSides, rather than just enjoy the weather and
enjoy BSides? Just come over, hang out, and let's have some beers later on. And
excellent. And the one thing, what's with the discs?
Okay,
right?
So I'm going to speak about this tomorrow at the opening session, but I'll do a small spoiler. So the idea, I'm not even sure when this came up, but we saw these discs and thought it would be really cool to have a floppy disk as a badge, because last year we had a small device that had Wi-Fi and so on.
Yes.
And you wanted to do something
So are you expecting us to have a computer to put this on?
Yeah, basically that's a challenge, is to read what's in here. So they shouldn't work. At least they were sold as non-working, which may not be true. I don't know. I have no idea. But the main thing and the real reason, at least on my part, that I thought it was a great idea is because there's a lot of people that had never seen something like this, because we're a bit, a little like 1 or 2 years older than a lot of other people that are around. But people that were born in the 80s and the 90s never saw this and never used it. I did. I learned Pascal.
Should we expect a real B-side cassette next year as a badge?
Yeah, it would be fun. We thought of that
Summer
also.
Summer 69 from Brian Adams?
We didn't find, actually, it was one of the ideas, but we didn't find enough to buy and to use. So this one was easier.
We need to get those cassette tapes from the Spectrum times.
Yeah,
remember with games.
Really fun. Yeah.
I have a few at home.
And each one of these badges, they all have labels, so they have fun stuff. So each badge is unique, so it's also something that is.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Thanks very much, Bruno.
Thank you, Vítor.
Cheers.
Cheers.